And Merry Christmas to everyone. My name is Dr. Patrick Flynn, and welcome to A Different Perspective. I am so excited that you are joining me here on this wonderful Christmas morning as I wear a little bit more festive clothing. Yes, I did have my Santa hat on before, and we'll put it back on, and my other jacket when we do our giveaways later. So I'm very excited for our holiday weekend, that we're going to have a wonderful Christmas holiday. But one thing that we love more than anything during this Christmas holiday, as you can see right here, is our giveaways. Our giveaways are some wonderful things that we are going to be doing. And the greatest thing is we are going to have some wonderful things. We have Travis back in studio. He had a wonderful vacation. It's awesome always having him back. He puts always his little touches on it with his dancing snowman and his snowflakes. It's just kind of cool. You'll see it pop up. He's got the greatest stuff. So it's Travis. It's awesome. There he is. There's our little dancing snowman. Travis, it's always wonderful having you back. Thank you for Eric and Kyle and Brandon and Aiden who ran the studio last weekend. You guys are absolutely amazing. Can't do anything without you guys. You guys are amazing. But it's always nice having my Travis back, who's always with me all the time. So he's absolutely incredible. So if you guys ever get a chance to meet Travis, you will. But exciting thing also too is next to me we have our winter elves, but we have a bunch more. You can see there is Aaron, we have Christy in the middle, we have Allie, then we have Faith and Devin who are here, and then our wonderful Lauren, who is actually Dr. Lucas' wife, but also Aaron's daughter. Once again, another journalist of ours, but they are our local elves that we are going to be doing all the giveaways with. So as you know right now, you might be on Facebook, you might be on Twitter, you might be on Instagram. Please do me a favor for the giveaways. As you saw their computers in front of them, you're going to have 6 of them dialoguing with you during the time for the giveaways. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to turn it over to our resident elves, and they're going to tell you how to win all of them today. So let's see, who's going to give the description here today of the elves over here?
All right. Oh, good morning.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I am Elf Allie. So a couple things. So with the Academy Scholarship, if you are interested, make sure you comment Academy. For 6-month care plan, if you are not a current patient and would love to be a new patient, make sure and comment 6 month.
Okay, and for everyone watching, let's start with this. If anyone is not a current patient with any of the Wellness Way clinics, if you could type in new, we would love to chat with you and get to know you a little bit, and you can get entered into a lot of these wonderful, wonderful prizes. And if you are a current patient, if you could type in TWW and the location that you're working with, that would be wonderful. We also want to communicate with you and be able to give you some great stuff. We have new patient care that we're giving away, as well as new patient and test read. For the new patient, if you could just write in new, that's why I said write in new. If you are interested in getting the test read as well, type in test. And then we also have a basket.
Yes. So this is our stress relief basket. Not that anybody knows a thing about stress. No, we are happy. We are happy, relaxed little elves. So in this basket, what have we got, Christy?
We've got Poppy and Kava, CBD, Relax, Ashwagandha, Shazandra, Potassium. There's a shot glass, so you can take all those wonderful supplements. And of course, chocolate. Who can survive without chocolate? A Wellness Way notebook. And so you can journal, that's a stress relieving kind of thing. And also an assortment of teas. So if you're interested in getting the basket, type in basket.
Yes. And did we talk about the 6-month care plan?
We did not.
Okay, the 6-month care plan. All right, so if you are also a new patient, we want to hear from you, new and 6. That 6-month care plan includes a new patient appointment, 6 consult visits, 6. 1 test read and 1 food education. So we have
really awesome
2 of those today. So 6 and new and test, right? That's what we're doing? Okay. And then the basket, of course, and Academy. Wow. Santa's got a long list today.
Long list, lots of great stuff.
So good. All right.
So back to us, back to your regular scheduled program. So nice thing of this is all those giveaways are a wonderful thing that all of our team put together. We decided to give away so much great stuff. Congratulations to all you winners. I do appreciate the thank yous that we did that way. The team has put this all together because they listen to you guys' needs. Now, once again, if you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, if you're on Twitter, any of the platforms being broadcast right now, go to adp.thewellnessway.com. adp.thewellnessway.com and interact. That's where they'll be, and that's where the winners got to be. And that's one thing nice. We have all the channels that we do have, but we have our main channel that allows us to really broadcast to everybody so we can't get censored. And in the future, you're going to find out that the shows are only going to be broadcast there for some of the great things that we have coming out next year. Last week we had a little technical difficulty. We had some new equipment and things like that, so we lost some of our sound for the first 20 minutes. Thank you guys for hanging in there. Now, once again, we will put that back up because we do record it on multiple cameras with a full sound that will be in next week. But what I'm going to do is this, is I'm going to recap some of the things that we did last week so you guys get a description, because there's things I like to say and things you guys want to know. And so when that program is back up there, you'll be able to notice that the sound is back up. So we're going to kind of hit the combination of what I covered a little bit last week, and then also some more detailed stuff I want to cover today as we continue our series on women's health. But as you guys know, the website, adp.thewellnessway.com, is where you can have all the discussions and all the things between people. But one thing that is the most important is go to our website, look at the newsletter, because as I did even this morning, I scrolled down, I looked, and you saw Lauren up there, you saw Aaron. We have our other incredible journalists that are always, including Megan Redshaw, doing our wonderful newsletters and research articles with all the references, all the things. I know a lot of people say, Doc, you say some things that are not conventional in current form of healthcare. You're right, we don't give medical advice. So what we do is we try to give you information that you could take, and all the references there, our journalists do a wonderful job of doing that. So make sure to go do that. But by far, what I think is the most important part of our website is go up to the top right. You can see the Find the Clinic, and you can see all those wonderful doctors that are out there, here from our current corporate office at Green Bay to all the wonderful offices across the country, which I can't thank them enough, as they participated in the 12 days of Christmas, and they also gave a ton of things away. So if you look at it this way, I will guarantee you that if you look at how much the Wellness Ways gave over the last holidays, it was in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, trying to just be a joy and a blessing to people out there in need. So once again, and thank you for you guys that reached out as I did a little personal thing. I wanted to help out some families, and I did. I wanted to help out some families during the Christmas season that have been going through some things. And also, we are going to be doing a benefit sometime in February for the people in Hawaii and Maui that lost a lot of things. So it's going to be kind of great, constantly helping people. And when you have means to help people, please do. It's that season. There's some people this weekend that may not have family, friends, or capability of doing certain, or even food. Guess what happens? And I'm hoping that we or other people could be a wonderful blessing to those people. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to continue our series on women's health. It's very important. This applies to everybody. And we also get a lot of questions on some of the things. And one thing that we've been covering since July is everything from the hormonal changes that women go through, but there's been a lot of things on weight. So we've been really focused on weight and foods and sugars and things like that. And that's one thing that you want to know. Is a lot of people see here, there's things you need to know about sugar. And one of the things that drive me absolutely nuts, people are saying sugar is bad. Now you say, well, Doc, you know what you do is you talk a lot about that number one thing that people should do a lot of times is just cut back on the consumption of sugar. Yes, because people eat way too much for way too long a periods, and that's going to cause problems. You'd be surprised, and you go back in a couple shows, I just covered a very simple marker of hemoglobin A1C. When the hemoglobin itself is changed due to too long and too high of sugar consumption. Our body needs glucose. It's very important. It just stays too high for too long. So as we cover these things, what we're going to do is we're going to go through the series. I covered a little bit last week, and then we're going to build upon it. And then at the end, as you guys are dialoguing with all of our wonderful 6 L's over there, you guys are going to win some amazing prizes, and I got some more special announcements at the end for what we are going to be covering next year and the things that we are doing in the Wellness Ways offices, but also corporately, and things that are happening with our website. So there's amazing things. So let's get into our health perspective now. something that is very meaningful for me is the fact that when people talk about women's health, they have to understand that's just what it is, health. It's how well that body is functioning, what it's doing, what it can do to recover during times of stress. Our bodies always go under stress. There's even unavoidable stresses that we cannot get away from. But here's what happens. As long as our body can adapt to it, guess what? We don't end up with some major conditions. Because if your body's under stress for a long period of time, just like glucose for a long period of time, some conditions can result. So as I love what our graphic artist put up here, women's health is not a condition. I want you guys to think about that. There's a significant amount of conditions that people deal with on a regular basis, but that's not health. Actually, conditions are the truly opposite of health. That's why I always find it quite interesting that most people are not taught about health. So I literally have a person that has cancer, and I'll say, do you consider yourself a healthy person? And they say, yep. I'm like, you understand you have cancer. Okay, but see what happens is the misconception of health and what it is, people just confuse it all the time. Conditions are very devastating and they're very bad and they actually can ruin people's lives dramatically. But on top of it, it's getting worse out there. I love seeing this, but I despise seeing this, as you can see here in the graphic. 6 out of 10 people have some form of chronic illness. Once again, 4 out of 10 have 2 or more chronic illnesses. If you look below, 4.1 trillion has been spent averagely and annually through the year. But the one thing is this, they're expecting 2023 to be even larger for all those conditions down below. Now, the one that we've been covering on a regular basis is the fact that we talked a lot about metabolic syndrome. And the reason why this one is so important is because it's kind of the syndrome that contributes to all those conditions a little bit worse. If you have heart disease and metabolic syndrome, it exacerbates it. You do that with cancer, you do that with even diabetes, it actually gets worse. But let's kind of just recap what metabolic syndrome is, as you can see here. It's not a disease, but rather a cluster of health markers such as abdominal obesity, dyslipidemia, glucose intolerance, hypertension, according to Mayo Clinic. These markers could lead to more serious conditions such as cardiovascular disease and diabetes, okay? And then that's when people say to me, Doc, I'm doing everything right and I can't lose weight. Please help, okay? Now, what that means is this, is when you have some form of metabolic syndrome, it could be a major contributor to why you can't lose weight. And a lot of people start to change things and they hit a plateau and they're like, kind of what's going on? So what we're going to do is we're going to recap some of the things that we talked about last week and then put the addition onto them that I wanted to talk about mainly today. But let's recap when it does come to weight loss, because weight loss is so vitally important to look at. Now what that means is this. They looked at the seasonal things. If you look at this graph right here, they look at the seasonal things that happen in Japan, Germany, United States. And it's very common, especially in the United States, to really start to put on weight between November through mid-January. Now, I wonder why. Do you know what I'm saying? I really wonder why. Because if you think about it, if you look at the graph, 3 different countries, the majority of weight really happens the last part of the year into the beginning part of the year. Now, why is that significant? Well, look at what happens. If you look at what happens through there, we have some major holidays that happen in October with Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and there's 2 factors that I believe come out the most. We obviously see an overconsumption of glucose. Now, does everybody? No, but just by nature, there is more glucose. Like I told you guys last week, everybody has some form of sugar craving. We had our wonderful 12 days of Christmas here. We celebrated every day for 12 days leading up to yesterday. And what ended up happening is this. There's people that actually brought in different wonderful organic treats. Even I had a cookie day where we ended up having frosting and wonderful cookies that are brought in from an organic bakery. But guess what? Glucose. You're saying very readily a glucose. So what can that do? It can spike it up and that maintain for a long period of time. There is some issues. But what else happens towards the end of the year? Because there's been studies where people have eaten bad stuff and still lost weight. Well, once again, that's where our calorie consumption goes up. Let me say it again. Our calorie consumption goes up and then we don't ever reduce enough calories to rid that stuff. So if you look at it this way, people always say to me all the time, do calories matter? Do calories matter? I want you to look at me on this. If you think about everything being equal, calories matter dramatically. Now, I know there's a lot of fights between everything like this. They'll say, there's good calories and bad calories. I know what you mean by that. And they're wrong. as I told you before, when I'm taking my Harvard Medical School online course, I just completed an amazing nutrition class with a wonderful professor there. And she even said calories are not equal. Now, I know what she meant by that. But then you have the, people that try to tear on everything. I always love this. I always love when people do these things, and I would never do this. But the idea is they'll take somebody else's video, and what they'll do is they'll take a clip of it, they'll take a snapshot of what they're saying, and then they do their video about what they're saying over the course of like maybe a 30-second, reel on Instagram or TikTok. I always tell people, you want to watch long format. People do Zoom all the time. I'll say, women shouldn't have six packs. And I've had people just go crazy over that and stuff. And then all of a sudden, but I explained why in my longer format. And people go, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Now, on the flip side, there's so many videos that come out that way. And when people talk about calories, you have the overzealots that want to just, get their publicity by trying to attack other people. And I'm like going, no, listen, calories matter dramatically. And when somebody says that calories are not equal, I know what they mean by it. But see, what they see is they're lying to the public, they're misleading. No, they're putting out information based on how they see it. And that's okay, because actually I can see it that way. I can see why they say it. Now, just like a lot of people say calories don't matter, I believe calories matter dramatically. But when a lot of people say calories don't matter, I know what they're trying to say. Now, once again, what they mean, very simple. And so I kind of put a little bit of a definition together, and we're going to talk about it for a second, but let's take a look at it right here. All calories are equal, because calories are just a unit of measurement. All sources like Oreos and organic chicken of calories are not equal in terms of their effects they may have on each system and may affect how the energy is used. Now, let me example. So you'll never hear me say that calories don't matter, because they do. You'll never hear me say that all calories are different. That's not really true. Calories is just kind of an energy measurement. But what I will say to try to clarify, and nobody disagrees on this, is the delivery of it. For example, if we have just organic Oreos and we have Oreos and we have organic chicken, once again, if you keep the calories low, people can maintain a weight. But there are ingredients in that organic Oreo that are going to have a negative effect on other tissues that could lead to conditions. And that's why people can even stay skinny and be sick. They can even maintain a weight and still be sick, because there's factors that contribute to it. Because if you eat 2,000 calories, let's do this, 1,500 calories of Oreos compared to 1,500 calories of organic chicken, you're going to probably keep your weight about the same with each one, because calorie is a calorie. But other ingredients within the Oreo is going to be, you're going to be mineral deficient, you're going to be protein deficient, you're going to be a lot of things there compared to there. So you may stay skinny, but you're probably going to get sick. And that's what people mean when they say not all calories are equal. Now, once again, the people that freak out about the calorie people are like, it's a unit measurement. I totally agree with you, but I know what they're saying. So taking their clip out of context doesn't do anybody good. Just explain what you mean. I believe that, for example, is you need to keep your calories significantly low, because that's why people had a positive impact when it came to intermittent fasting. What they end up doing, they just create a system to where they could follow to reduce their calories. But this also happens. I know people that do a 16-8 window, and they may fast for 16 hours, quote, but in the 8 hours, they're consuming 3,000 calories, and they're saying, doc, why am I not losing weight? And it's all organic, it's all gluten-free, it's all everything. Well, it's because you still have too many calories per day, and your body is not metabolizing them, because all the factors included, you just don't burn that much calories. So therefore, you're going to gain weight even if you intermittent fast. You're not going to lose weight if you actually are, even if you're intermittent fasting, if you don't reduce that overall calorie intake. So how can we do this? So how can we reduce those calories to make it more enjoyable? Or, for example, we can have food seem like we're more full, and then make it to where we can keep it to where we can lose weight. Well, number one, you need to eat more protein. You really do. I got to tell you, in practice, once again, people, I realize that going through their daily things that they're eating, I tell them, listen, you don't eat enough protein. I mean, I can tell you that I've had people sometimes max them if they were 20 grams of protein a day, and they're wondering why they're having problems. They wonder why they were sick. I mean, just the consumption of protein, people don't eat enough. Now, once again, I know there's a battle between animal-based during plant-based. We talked about that again last week. Don't get in that battle. Once again, you can sufficiently do both of them through either vegetable or animal-based. It's just so much easier. Let me say again, so much easier with animal-based. So much easier. It really is, because there is a significant amount of preparation and how much percentage that you get from plant-based compared to animal-based. So can you do it both ways? Yes. It's just that you're going to spend a lot of time and a lot of preparation on the plant-based one compared to the animal-based one. And so therefore, I see them fight about it. And once again, they put a clip out and the things that say. Now, once again, I'm going to tell you this. Just get enough to start. Just get enough to start, because I believe that most people do not. And the guidelines that they do have, once again, are very low. They do not have an upper level yet, but let's take a look at it here. From Nutrition and Metabolism, dietary guidelines should reflect new understandings about adult protein needs. They're much higher than they think. Once again, I know a lot of people try only getting 60 to 70 grams of protein a day. I know women are getting less. Significantly, women eat a lot less because they are more vegetable eaters than meat eaters. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you're going to be a meat eater, once again, get enough in there, because there's people that eat meat and don't get enough. Now, I will tell you, next year I'm going to do a show just on plant-based proteins, even though I would tell you, I'm going to tell you it's much more difficult, but to give you an idea, there's two that I like. Hemp and chickpeas have a significant amount that you want to look at. It takes a little less preparation, but there's a lot more preparation to it that way, and you can get some decent sources. Now, there are other great sources that are there, so all you guys that say, okay, what about soy? I will go into it next year, but idea is this. You need to really look at some things when you actually go preparation to get that separate from its fiber, prepare it, and make it more available for the body. But the point is that I want to show you is this, and all the guidelines we talked about last week went in detail of these guidelines, so go back and watch the show. I did create a slide. What I wanted you guys to give you a concept of why proteins are so important. If you look at how the body's made, no joke, I just took out and made just kind of a basic graph here. About 1% of your body is carbohydrates, about 4% is minerals, about 10% is about fats, 20% is protein, 65% is water. Now, once again, there's a lot of space filled up with water. That's why your body's so much water. And a lot of times people drink too much water, and that's why you see this a lot with athletes. A person sent me an email the other day and said, Doc, I'm confused. It seems like you want people to exercise and get muscle protein synthesis and have good lean muscle tissue, but it seems like athletes die and have a lot of problems very early. Well, I want you to look back at that graph. That's why I put this in there. Athletes, once again, do a wonderful job of usually hydration, but they're very mineral deficient, because when you sweat, you release a lot of minerals. And I believe that a lot of people are mineral deficient. So that's why when people have so much clear urine, I'm going, you guys are going to become a little bit mineral deficient. That's why you need to put good minerals. Now, once again, you can get in your diet. You don't have to add minerals to your water. If you want to, it's great. Add electrolytes, things like that. But I'll tell you right now, potassium and magnesium, especially in athletes, they're so deficient. If you look at just the RDAs for potassium, the average person needs 4,700 milligrams per day. 47, and that's just the average person. If you're a high-level athlete, you may need 6,000 or 7,000, and therefore that is a significant amount of vegetables or potassium-based foods, and therefore it's very hard for anybody to get. That's why I kind of supplement with those things. That's the whole idea of supplementation. If you don't get enough, you supplement with it. But if you look at the basic graph again, you have carbohydrates, fats, proteins, water. Well, if you look, for example, what you should be eating, protein has to be a significant amount of those building blocks that are there. Once again, they're just important things that you need to do. And by eating protein, you find yourself being satisfied quicker and easier. So therefore, your calorie consumption goes down. And like an organic egg, duck egg, or chicken egg, if you're not allergic and things like that, guess what happens? Has a significant amount of protein with a low amount of calories. Good old beef, people realize I'm a big fan of red meat. Now, once again, I won't get into debate with you about red meat and things like that. I just clinically have applied it to millions of people, so I see the massive benefit of it. But I've also seen people that prepare their vegetable-based proteins well, and they can do really well too. And we talked last week about leucine, once again, because that stimulates muscle protein synthesis, which allows you to build up lean muscle, which once again is very important as you get older. It's important your whole life, but it's important for as you get older, because a lot of people lose that as they go on. So go back and watch the whole protein thing I did last week on there. I went more extensively into the research on it, but there you go. Now, the next thing, limit your sugar intake. Why? Because sugar tastes so good. As we use the example of an Oreo, there's no old saying, you can't just eat one. You can't. They're just too wonderful, taste too good. Now that's why we don't eat those things, because once again, I do not want the highly processed grains, the other, let's say, chemicals that they put in there. Just don't want them in the body. Body actually has enough to deal with things you can't control. So that's why we try to do this. We try to stay to organic. We try to stay to the glucose things that are more bound to fiber. But idea is limit your sugar intake. It's why we started our no sugar challenge. As you can see up there, and Travis, I want you to leave this up just for about 10 seconds. As you can see, grab your phone. Okay, we're doing our no sugar challenge. You can join our no sugar challenge Facebook group, and all we do during the time is just like we're doing now. Our team is always talking to you. You have a lot of our doctors, almost all of our doctors on there discussing with people, trying to encourage people to stick with no sugar. We're doing no sugar January, all the way from the 1st through 31st. Once again, we're gonna try to tell people to keep their calorie intake below 2,000 as long as they don't have any health conditions going on, that they need to consume a little bit more. But the idea is this, as you can see, we wanted people to reduce it, and then you can get the sheets available, the things that you can find, okay? Now, if you look here, we're going to pop up just a couple of these graphs right here. Here's some good things to avoid. And guess what happens? We want to see those avoided, but also things to enjoy. Now, once again, this is just a minor list on our Facebook page. We have a lot more that we add in there. We also have handouts. We have other things that you can do to follow the guidelines. Now, once again, we're trying to keep your calorie intake, roughly as stable as we can. We try to guide people. Once again, you can still eat 3 times a day if you want to, once again, because you need a certain amount of proteins. We have all those on there. So it's not like we're trying to, honestly, we're trying to restrict around that 2,000 calorie mark, but we gotta make sure that you have very high dense foods so you get enough of your minerals, your proteins, your fats, and your carbohydrates. So when you look at the no sugar challenge, you're not eating foods. You can see there's carbohydrates on there, okay? But what we're trying to talk about when it comes to sugar is we're trying to talk about things that have high glucose. High glucose. That's important because the available glucose can contribute to that metabolic syndrome that's there. So understand, that's what we're always trying to do. So what is a way we talk about having low sugar? Well, that's why I need you guys to do a lot of fiber. If you look, fiber is one thing that I think that we can all agree upon. That's the one thing that most people, the majority of people, can agree upon. As you can see right here, dietary fiber is very important. It relates to mortality from all causes. That means all diseases, cardiovascular disease, and cancer, a protective study. Now, what they notice is people that consume a higher fiber-based diet, it just seems to have a positive effect on every condition, as a positive effect on you dying less. Now, do I have some ideas why? Yes. I believe that there's microbial things that happen within the GI that allow to feed the bacteria, allow it to build up, allow it to create a better microbiome, create a better just environment down there. It also changes the bowel movements. But what it also does, it slows the absorption of sugar. You have less available glucose and you have less spikes, so you have insulin stability, not insulin resistance. And so there's so many factors that fiber contributes to. And that's why a lot of people say, Doc, I know you like meats. Are you a carnivore? No. Do I believe there's massive benefits to some people just doing carnivore? Yes, I can tell you thousands of times I've given advice to a patient sitting across me. I'd like to see you do carnivore for a little bit, and here's why. And stuff like that. Because even there's some people that right now that might type in and say, Doc, I try to eat fiber and I bloat like crazy. Yes, then you'd need like a stool test because you have some microbial problems and now you need to ferment that fiber. That's why I'm so big in the sauerkraut. It just seems to set the GI so well. You got great insoluble and soluble fiber. You have the microbials. There's so many things that benefit from it that way. But understand, I also, if you're on the No Sugar Challenge page, and I'm gonna just pop back to that really quick right now. We'll just leave it up for 10 seconds here. Go there. I'm going to show you some handouts, the ones that you saw there before, but there's more handouts. This is trying to give you, and it's free, guys. It's free. We don't try to sell you anything. It's just a free thing that you can do to try to guide. And this is stuff you can even do after the fact of actually no sugar. So as you see these things, these are very important, and go do that. And now what happens is, for example, you can see handles like this when it does come to fiber. I just put up some of them. Are there other fiber-based things? Yes, but these are some of my favorites. And we do is we give you handouts so you can follow these. So you can see, look at the amount of fiber that's in the fruits like avocado or blackberries. People wonder why raspberries, blackberries, and blueberries are my favorite. And I say, Doc, you don't even have blueberries up there as fiber. Well, once again, I just put several of them up there that you want to see, and some vegetables and nuts, seeds, legumes. And there, once again, as I talked about before, you can see the fiber in chickpeas, but there's also great protein in chickpeas. So you can make some good hummus, but once again, you can be prepared or bought in that way, but you're going to have these wonderful things that contribute. And you see some other fibers. Now, once again, are there other fibers? Yes, there is. But I tried to pick the highest fiber that I know that the majority of people are going to eat. There are some fiber things on there that are maybe even a little bit higher, but no one wants to eat them. And we're trying to make it to where you succeed. That's the thing. When I sit with a patient, or my doctors sit with patients, we're trying to make sure that you can succeed at this process because it's tough. Food is emotional. I know that's why if you ever look at the overconsumption of calories through end of October, November, December, is because you just happen to produce more things that people want to eat more of. And then they don't, you can see, they gain a certain amount of weight at the end of the year and they don't lose it. And that's why every year they seem to increase in their lifestyle. And what happens is calorie intake goes up, increase in obesity. All right, so we had to talk about sugar, and we talk about this. Increase your water. It's important. As you saw, a lot of people sometimes, what they do is they actually think they're hungry and they're really thirsty. A significant amount of the spaces that we have within our body is filled with water. Now, is it pure water? No. It's just that there's a fluid, but you need water to produce it, okay? So therefore, there's plasma, there's inside the cell, there's outside the cell, and these things mix with minerals and different things, and that's why you see a lot of minerals that exist in the existence of our body. So once again, but a lot of people sometimes don't even drink water through the day. Make sure that you get some that way. Now, the new part that I want to talk about is very important because here's what happens with this. How do we actually also reduce our calories? And that this may surprise you. Keep your stress down. Keep your stress down. Stress, once again, if you ever look at when people have stress, they want to relieve certain psychological things that happen. By eating, you produce a lot of neurotransmitters and chemicals within your body, the biochemistry of your body, that helps us psychologically. It's why, once again, you ever notice that when you have certain foods, it's like, it just calms you down, including chocolate, because there is some tryptamine, serotonin that exists in there, and you get that and you see some hormonal change. So there are some wonderful things that people feel when they eat in certain foods. So that's why a lot of people stress eat, including myself. A lot of people have addictions. It's very common, and people realize food's an addiction. We have a lot of addictions that way. We do it to kind of relieve stress. And I don't know anybody that doesn't have stress. Some people run towards drugs and alcohol. Some people run to things that, once again, they're an addiction, but they do is they stress relieve. But stress can lead to a lot of things. And that's why if you notice, they even talk about this and they talk about a lot of things that happen here. Stress and obesity is a very common thing that does happen. Now, on the flip side, you can have such excessive stress that you waste away too. So there's, once again, there's that critical balance that happens there. But as you can see here, let's go through this, okay? Many pathways connect stress to obesity. Two highly prevalent problems face society today. First, stress interferes with the cognitive process such as executive function and self-regulation. Puts us in fight or flight. Second, stress can affect behavior by introducing overeating and consumption of foods that are high in calories, fats, and sugar, by decreasing physical activity and by shortening sleep. Third, stress triggers physiological changes in the HPA axis, reward processing in the brain, and possibly the gut microbiome. Finally, stress can stimulate production of biochemical hormones and peptides such as leptin, ghrelin, which actually stores fat, and neuropeptide Y. Obesity itself can be a stressful state due to high prevalence of weight stigma. Gain more weight, get more stressed out. This article therefore traces the contribution of weight stigma to stress and ozempic processes, ultimately describing a vicious cycle of stress to obesity to stigma to stress. Currently, obesity prevention efforts focus solely on eating and exercise. The evidence reviewed in the article points to stress as an important but current overlooked public policy target. I do believe that. I do believe that fact that people sometimes overlook this. So during the holidays, I try to give people some stress relieving factors because you don't want that cortisol jumping up too high because it stays too high for too long. You can either gain weight, you can actually lead to degeneration and lose weight. And that's the factors. It sometimes becomes uncontrollable. So what I want to talk to you about today, quite simply, is the top 11 ways to reduce stress and cortisol. So I'm going to pop up all of these really quickly, so watch the screen, and we're going to talk about just a couple of them today that are very important. Number one, breathing. People don't realize what a cheap, effective way to do it. 2, exercise. Guys, nature, even right now, get outside, get snow, everything like that, it's fantastic. Mental, have a plan. A lot of people, once again, the reason why they stay in a stress state is because they don't have a plan to get out of it. Chocolate, once again, there is certain biochemistry within it that does give us a little stress relief. Cod liver oil, neurological things that happen dramatically, it's there. California poppy, very calming to the nervous system. Ashwagandha, you see that one I have highlighted because there's so many factors we're going to cover that way. Green tea, that's why, once again, also helps with sleep. That's why I have this at night with a lemon in there. It works fantastic. Olive oil, there's a certain biochemistry in there that's very common to help you reduce stress and cortisol. Sunlight, because melatonin does a wonderful job of actually affecting both of those. And of course, potassium, one of our most common minerals. But what we're going to do now today is we're going to talk about, what I want to talk about is ashwagandha, because I think it's very important during these very high stressful holidays. Because one thing that I was so thankful for is I got so many emails and so many Instagram messages and Facebook messages from people talking about thank you, the joys of the holidays, things like that. But I had just as many people, if not a little bit more, talk about the stress that they go through and the financial worries and things that go on and losing their jobs or not having this. And there's a lot of people that have a lot of stress during the holidays and need to make sure that it doesn't lead to obesity or other health factors that go on. So let's talk about ashwagandha a little bit, because I believe it's something important that we can do to help us, because once again, there's a lot of depression that happens and a lot of anxiety, and a lot of people take medications during time just to get through it. And not that, for example, that ashwagandha would ever be an alternative, but at least if we can keep that stress down, people do not end up in these high states where they end up on an antidepressant and lead to those things never getting off. See, that's what happens just like obesity. You look at people gain the weight during the last roughly couple months in the beginning of the year, and they never lose it. It's like a person gets on medication and they never get off. Now, what is ashwagandha in general? Well, if you look at here's one of the factors it does. It's known as a metabolic regulator. Now, what does that mean? To enhance the body's ability to adapt to environmental factors and avoid the damage implied by them. It also is a decent antioxidant and an immunostimulant. Now, why could it be an immunostimulant? Because it does have factors when it does with cortisol. Actually, it can affect the medulla and also the cortex of the adrenals. So it's known as probably the best adaptogen, which allows you to adapt to stressors, and we all have them. You know, once again, I have a huge international company. Sometimes there's a little bit of stress. There's wonderful pleasures, but there's sometimes stress. There's some things that do happen that are out of your control. There's things that happen, just in people's personal lives. So having the ability to adapt is good, because if you cannot, there's going to be problems. Now, also, there's other factors we're not going to talk about today when it does come to ashwagandha. As you can see here, there's a neuroprotective sedative aspect, anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, cardioprotective, antidiabetic, and hormonal adaptogen. See, that's the nice thing about things that we do and kind of give out. There is a multi-factor thing that happens because it affects a lot of tissues, but we're talking mainly, what I want to talk about is obesity. I also want to talk about weight loss and performance and stuff like that, because how to maintain a good weight, and or if you're in the venture of losing weight, what can we do to do those things? Well, let's take a look at the first research article that I pulled up for you guys. Adaptogenic effects of ashwagandha root in healthy adults, a double-blind randomized placebo-controlled study. And what they found out was this, just in general. Ashwagandha is a medically important herb and has proven impact on human health. The findings from the study suggest that 8-week supplementation of the aqueous liquid ashwagandha root extract was associated with a significant reduction of stress levels in individuals and improved the overall quality of life. Hence, the use of the herb as a supplement for stress and anxiety management could be an excellent alternative option. Further studies conducted with a larger cohort in a diverse population and with more biochemical, physiological, and psychological evaluations may confirm the present findings. So you got to understand that they've found some wonderful factors on how it affects cortisol and other adaptogenic aspects of our biochemistry, including adrenal hormones that could be produced once again by adrenaline or cortisol, because once again, cortisol is listed as a hormone, adrenaline is listed as a neurotransmitter, and once again, they are produced by adrenals, and guess what? If you look at ashwagandha, has an effect on it, to the point where they even talked about a significant reduction of stress levels. That's amazing considering the fact that the high amount of stress that people go through. Like sometimes we can't control it, but we can at least help our body adapt to it, because we don't want to be running our body like a car emptying a fuel tank. And that's what happens. That's why a lot of people go, Doc, I'm just pooped out in this, now I'm gaining weight, it doesn't seem like I'm doing anything different. And well, yeah, because the stress can do this. But the one thing that a lot of people do not know is this: can it reduce adipose tissue, aka fat tissue? It's very important. Now, once again, I'm just covering this so you guys understand it. I'll put your references up later. But if you look, ashwagandha induces apoptosis, that means cell death, and inhibits adaptogenesis of the hepatocytes. What does it mean? As you can see here is this. The results show that the ashwagandha acts as an hepatocyte to reduce cell viability and hepatogenesis and induces apoptosis. So, what does it say in all the medical jargon that they put out there? Just understand that the fat cells, not only does it inhibit it from actually producing or growing, it's also having the ability to destroy it. Cell program death, trying to get rid of it. So that's why they even saw the fact that, listen, as something to actually support the body, get it to adapt, and they also knew that some of the hepatocytes were dying, and also inhibited them from producing, aka hepatogenesis, producing more. Well, it's pretty good considering the fact that as people try to use all these different weight loss tools, I'm like going, wow, there's something that not only helps you adapt to stress, helps you become healthy, but also has an effect on adipose tissue. That's why when people would do weight loss things that we're doing here, we would actually put this in their program to allow these things to happen. But also it has an effect on that whole endurance and also output of muscle protein synthesis. Now, does it affect it directly? Well, here's what they found out. Examine the effects of ashwagandha supplementation on muscle strength and recovery in a randomized control trial. Conclusion: the study reports that ashwagandha supplementation is associated with significant increase in muscle mass and strength, and suggests that ashwagandha supplementation may be useful in conjunction with resistance training. Now, once again, you need to resistance train. So you need to put stress on that muscle. For guys, it needs to be done at a decent level daily. Women, once again, you want to resistance train, you just have to change some of the resistance changes. Because why? Because here's what happens. That cortisol and adrenaline has a very direct effect to your anabolic hormones, including progesterone, but also your estrogens. It's why, for example, men are not as affected as it is when it comes to adrenal problems, even though ashwagandha has shown in several studies to affect testosterone levels. Once again, some of these are animal studies, some of these are human studies, but the idea is this: there is a positive effect because of the adaptation, because we do produce a little bit of testosterone from the adrenals, and so therefore allows us to get some factors there. But this really affects women. That's why I think ashwagandha is essential for the things, but it also helps with, like it says, muscle mass and strength. And what they did is this: they actually showed a little bit more in detail of the research. Said healthy, untrained men put on a periodization strength training program for 8 weeks, while also taking 300 milligrams of commercial ashwagandha extract twice daily, lost 2% more body fat than the placebo group as measured by bioelectrical impedance. So not only this, when they're strength training, they gain muscle mass, they gain endurance, but they actually lost 2% more body fat. You know, I see this a lot in bodybuilders. They will take a synthetic T3 medication to try to force more body fat out to see more ripples and stuff. And I'm like, guys, at least do a little bit more with ashwagandha, you know, because you're using a synthetic hormone and that can mess up your thyroid, things like this. And actually, ashwagandha is known to have a very positive effect. They've done some clinical studies on when it comes to thyroid and hypothyroidism. So once again, I'm going to put all these references up there because I had a lot of people say, Doc, you put up the research, can you put up the links? Absolutely, it's very important to see this. So not only the fact is endurance, muscle mass, reduction of fat, adaptogenic stress, other protective factors. Once again, they have done a wonderful thing of really studying ashwagandha. It should be a normal part of not only a female's regimen because of the amount of stress they do, but once again, if you're doing any form of resistance training, I would put in there both male or female. Now, what is ashwagandha? Actually, that's so they came up with the name. It stands for horse fragrance. I don't know who creates these things or put these out that way, the history, and that's how they came up with the name. But ashwagandha is a very phenomenal herb. Let's just think of it as one of the most great adaptogens. So through the holidays, trying to maintain a good muscle mass, trying to maintain a good weight loss, trying to keep the weight down, trying to keep energy up, kind of keep you adapt to all these things going on. I believe it's imperative for the holidays, but also continue if you deal with stress. I also believe, once again, we talked about last week, using Gymnema is so important because it blocks the absorption of sugar. Once again, these things actually, the gymnemic acid grabs onto the receptors, so there's less factors of sugar coming in. Now, does it stop all absorption of sugar? Absolutely not. But it stops a good majority of it, so it allows you to have less available glucose, which can contribute to metabolic syndrome, which now leads to all conditions that are there. And here, just once again, as I do always post the notes, these are the references that are down there. So it's kind of cool. Just put all the references that you can go back and read all these things during the holidays. And so therefore, as we look through the holidays, I believe that all the things that we go through from an overconsumption of sugar, from a lack of exercise, from increasing that last 2.5 months, last 2 months with the first part of the beginning of the year, we really need to put strategies forward for everybody to be able to maintain a decent calorie reduction, stress reduction, weight reduction, because we know that metabolic syndrome can contribute to all diseases, especially the two leading killers, which is heart disease and cancer. Okay, so now what we're going to do, guys, is we are going to move into our last 10%. And yes, I did a wardrobe change. I pulled a Whoopi Goldberg from the Oscars. Okay. As we want to celebrate, and thank you so much, guys, for our last 10%, what we're going to talk about is two things that are very important to me. As you guys know before, we're going to talk about our Leadership and Longevity Conference that we talked about last week. Once again, Memorial Day weekend. I will have more details as the year to come. We're going to teach you guys some things that are fantastic when it comes to leadership and why I believe that success can be done by the majority of people, if not personally of all people, if they do certain leadership, but also longevity. All these things that we're teaching, I'm going to bring in some wonderful people, from our doctors to experts from all over the world. I just talked to, Elf Aaron over there. We just talked to a wonderful Stanford professor who is an expert in metabolic aspect of cancer that we're very close to actually having assigned to come for the fact and give a wonderful presentation. We have other wonderful people that are experts in some things that relate to what we do. And it's going to be great having these people here, and it's going to be for the public and also for our doctors. All of our doctors will be coming in from all over the world. So once again, Travis put it up there. I'll have a lot more details starting next year. We'll be promoting it every week, but the save the date, Labor Day weekend. It's going to be absolutely fantastic for people to come. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go over to our giveaways and our wonderful ELF crew. So you guys, why don't you guys take it over? Look at Travis. It's wonderful having Travis back. He puts all the good stuff together and all our animations and stuff. So Travis, Merry Christmas. Hope you have a wonderful time. And we appreciate you. We appreciate all of our media team. Appreciate everybody. So let's go to our elves, and we're going to hand over to them. All right, elves, what you got for everybody?
We have some wonderful names to share for all these wonderful prizes. Allie.
All right, so I'm going to start off with the 6-month care plan. So the winner of that is going to be Steve Ducat. All right, and I'm going to roll into some new patient appointments. I'm going to just spitball these ones. I've got Alicia Jennerjohn, Deb Deaver, Eve Aguirre, Terza Grace, and MJ Goldberg.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Okay.
All right.
And next we're going to do another 6-month care plan, and that goes to Jolene Aaron. And then this wonderful stress relief basket. We had a lot of people wanting this basket. The winner is Jessica Terry. I have to say, you have commented and gotten really into this. This is really, really fun to watch.
Very funny. Okay, so then we have some new patients and test reads. So we have Luda P, D Wright, H Bascom, and Deanne Rupel. So then the big one, the Academy Scholarship. Ready? Noel Dudko. Co. Very creative
Very
comments.
creative.
Way to
Lots
go.
of comments.
Did not know so many Christmas carols fit with Academy. Fabulous.
Congratulations.
I think I would like to see my husband, Dr. Patrick, do that little dance that
Oh, yeah.
little guy was doing.
Yeah.
I think that would be kind of fun.
Next thing you know, MTV is being called and they want me to go there and say, "You're here." I mean, come on now, I gotta keep you guys employed. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Congratulations to all the winners. And tune in next week. We've got even more.
Yes, as our holiday weekend continues, we do have more giveaways next week, so please join us. Once again, if you guys are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all you guys, and TikTok watching right now, go over to adp.thewellnessway.com. Just let you guys know, as you see that our wonderful media team does amazing things, but we also have behind the scene all of our web people, we have programmers, we have everything. We have so many great things coming out. We're gonna actually start some private things on our website that are gonna be launched for members only. It's kind of cool. We will still give out so much free information that we do on a regular basis. We're just going to step it up a level. Next year, I'm going to be doing certain lives on my website where they're going to be basically Zooms, and we'll be talking on a regular basis several times per month. We have so many multiple things that are coming out next year. So please do me a favor. Next week when you come and watch, do me a favor. We're going to be doing more giveaways. Our elves will be here, even though, once again, we celebrate Christmas started in October. You know what I'm saying? We just had our 12 days of Christmas as a company. Thank you for all of you wonderful people that are here in the corporate office, in the Green Bay Clinic. You guys, it was great celebrating with you. I wish all of you guys a Merry Christmas. I wish all you guys a wonderful, safe holiday. And just remember, guys, as I always say, you know, stay healthy and stay free. It's some of the most important things. We have wonderful people all over. And once again, bring some joy to some wonderful people. As we try to give away a lot of things through the holidays, we really do care about everybody. We try to, my son-in-law, Devin and I were here, no joke, extremely early in the morning. We prep for everything, we do things. All of our people put so much time. I cannot thank for the wonderful, wonderful year that we had this year. We've actually had 24 years of growth, and this year was no exception to that rule. This year is probably one of our biggest years ever. Thank you all, you wonderful elves over there. Thank you, Travis. Thank you. I saw Eric here. Thank you, Brandon here. Thank you, obviously, Lauren, as she's typing in there. She didn't jump up during the outside, but thank you, Lauren. Your wonderful articles and everything you do shares and it affects millions of people. And once again, sign up for our newsletter, see all of our wonderful clinics across the world, and we'll see you next week to continue our weight loss. We'll have more to give you guys, insight on, and then also this. We have more giveaways for you guys next week. God bless. You guys have a wonderful Christmas weekend. For the unedited, full-length, unapologetic content, go to our website to watch ADP shows. Hit that subscribe button and join our community for the most amazing content like this every day.